Hey, Corey here. Coming in to record the energy update for our beautiful first new moon of 2024. This new moon has some really earthy kind of energy to it. And of course, our earth has kind of been rumbling and it's not always so stable. And so we have some beautiful energy with this as well. So there is a sense of a little bit of security that comes with this new moon energy. This is a in-between stage. So in between this month of instabilities, this gives us an opportunity to kind of like just slowly just kind of find some stable ground. It's an opportunity for really setting that intention, for gaining some clarity on, do I really want to continue to take this bumpy road little journey through some of the changes that I need to make, or some of the things that, I don't need to do. I don't need to rush into that. I don't need to do that right now. And really truly getting to that point. There's a lot of logical thinking that comes with this moon as well. And on the other side of this moon, with the trailing energy of the 11th, is that there is some excitement, some enthusiastic energy that is transpiring, that becomes like the residue. It feels like a bit of a celebration time. Um, and it feels like that energy that just truly says, like, um, let's really celebrate the wins that sometimes we can't see. And so there's some, allowing ourselves to celebrate the wins that we can't see, but something has worked in our favors to get us to where we are. Then we want to look at that energy. We want to be able to explore that energy. We want to be able to see that energy. So we do have that coming up. Now I'm in the middle of, this is Tuesday the 9th. And so I'm in the middle of the week's energy as well. And just the energy that's happening through January and through this week's energy of shifts and changes that are also taking place. But I want to bring this new, but I'm trying to focus on this new moon, but the rest of the energy is kind of stepping in. And I did speak about the year's energy being about illusions, right? The veils of illusions falling. And to be very aware, they're so easy to get caught up in the enthusiasm and the excitement and, of possibility of something happening. We've seen it with the the video of there being like this 9-10 foot man walking through the mall in the US, and or an alien, whatever you want to. And whether or not it's full truth, it's brought quite a stir, and it can be quite the distraction. And it's like, sometimes we don't realize that we're being tested to see how how far we're willing to take something, how much we're willing to absorb. And, we've seen this through from 2020 moving forward, that there's some real energy that just says, let's just see how much further we can kind of push this. Be aware, be truly aware of illusions of truths. And because those veils of illusions are crumbling, falling. And so be aware of those stories that sometimes we tell ourselves, and that we get trapped in or caught in, and that we can't see any other side. That we get so we're so convinced in our convictions that sometimes we can't see another side. And this is the opportunity with this new moon, which means we are void of being able to see the moon, but we know the moon is there. And that's where energy comes in, of like, we know there is something there. We know there's some truth. We know but you know, it's knowing that there's so many sides of things. So the moon is not that the moon is not there. We can't see the moon. And sometimes there's things that are happening that we can't see behind the scenes. And so there's things that are happening on our behalf by the divine that we can't see. And so if we get ourselves trapped in setting such a strong conviction to what we want and to how we want it to unfold in our lives, that sometimes we leave no space for the unexpected, and no space for the surprises. And that there may be some surprise. It may be, your dreams are limited to what you think you're capable of, or what you think is possible for you. But on a divine level, our dreams and goals can be amplified 1,000 times over, right? We just don't know. And so that thing you may have been waiting for years may be there. You may see that unfold. You may see that happen. And I just had an experience that just popped into my awareness that the guides have just given me to hold on to and to bring forth. And I just remember a few years ago, having a client who's no longer with us. And I was always given permission to share the story because he was in such and it was this experience that was happening in his life. Now he wasn't even a client at the time. He's a lifelong friend. He's someone I had known for since I was young. And I was driving to see my psychologist at the time, and it was snowing, and I get this message come to me from spirit. And the messenger that was giving me the spirit was another friend who had passed away years ago. And now that friend and he's passed, his wife has since passed, and the other gentleman has since passed. And this was the brother to the wife. And he was so proud of it that he used to want me to share this experience. And so the friend who had passed years ago messaged and said, Corrie, you have to contact my friend. You have to contact him now. I was not working as a medium. I just want to bring that in. I was working in healing. I wasn't advertising myself as a medium. I had taken my coaching. I wasn't full out doing mediumship at the time, not wide open in the public. I was given messages in Reiki sessions, but I wasn't all out in the world as a medium. And so I'm driving and I keep getting that message over and over. Corrie, I know you can hear me. Stop your car. Stop your car. You can hear me. I know you can hear me. You're not listening to me. You're not talking back to me. You know you can hear me. And so I pulled over. I had not spoken to this other friend in years. I mean, whether or not he would have ever believed in mediumship, I don't know. So I messaged him on Facebook. I found him in my friends list. I messaged him and I just said, hey, whatever you are doing right now, your friend has messaged me from the other side and said, do not go down over that hill. Whatever you do, wherever you are, do not get in that truck and do not go down over that hill. And wasn't even 5 minutes later, he messaged me back and he said, oh my God, Corrie, I just started at this job for this company. And I just finished saying, like, it's a snowstorm here. And he was in the East Coast of Newfoundland, in Newfoundland. And he just said, I just told him, like, buddy, that's not safe. I don't want to go down that hill. He says, well, if you don't go, somebody else is going to go. You'll lose your job. And I said, you know what? This wouldn't be so urgent if you know, if this wasn't so urgent, your friend would be coming. You will not make it if you go down that hill. And he said, that's what I feel in my gut. And so he chose not to go down over that hill. He lost the job that he had just gotten because he refused. But he had also been out of work for a long time. So this was his opportunity to get back to work. He had had a lot of ups and downs in his life. And he chose to really, truly listen. And he didn't go. Somebody else went and rolled the truck. And all the why to all of that revealed itself in the coming months following. And so he went home. It began a journey of him really, truly. And I said, there's a reason why you can't go down. Like, there's either something in your body, there's something going on. And there was something else going on for him in his personal life. And I don't want to share all that part, but there was something else going on. But it led him to get all the help that he needed by this friend who was communicating to me all the things that he needed to do to get healthy. And we really thought it was really about, and it was about saving his life, but we thought it was mostly just around him. It was because somebody else in his family was going to go through a loss that we couldn't see, that he would need to be there, that he would need to be the man that he needed to be healthier and wholer and available, not to do more damage to his body, to be able to be there. And I didn't see that part. I wasn't getting that message because I wasn't meant to. That wasn't for me. So his purpose on earth became bigger than ever before. His whole desire to live, his fight for his life became bigger than before. He had to kind of really truly trust in the universe that not having this one job was going to lead him to an even greater job in life. And his greater job in life was to be a guide, to be the role that he was here to play. And that was such a big momentous moment in the beginning of the why of that started to push me more and more. I didn't want to be a medium. It wasn't part of my wheelhouse of interest. I had a salon, I had a spa, I had a lot of clients. I had my healing business, my aesthetics, my advanced aesthetics, lymphatic drain, all that stuff was so big. Like I didn't really need anything else. And I just didn't want to be, I didn't want to be thrown to the wolves. I didn't want to put myself out there that way. And it was that pull to pull myself back. And not everyone's here to be a medium. Just going to say, like, you can be gifted, but it doesn't mean you're meant to step up and out as a medium. And I never took the journey, I never tried to make that happen. It unfolded in my life. It opened up, it opened me up to be that person, to become that person. And that was a part of, I never set that intention. My intention was to be the best human that I could be, to be of service where I could, but to also, be good to myself and to live from my spirit, to be with spirit, to be connected to my own spirit, and to always listen to the divine, to listen to my gut, to listen to my intuition, and just to trust. And so that was, and I had ceiling that, and I had limited that. Becoming a medium opened up kind of the more that I opened, the more that things appeared, and finding my way into being a mystic and, the prophetess work that I do, the prophecy work, and seeing those things and being a channel and seeing all this other things. All this was to come. But if I had not had even listened to that experience and walked the journey with this gentleman, I probably would not have seen on such a scale the how the divine works and how there is such a divine plan. And it wasn't just about saving his life from this truck accident. It was about him being able to be the person he needed to be of service to other people in his life. He didn't leave this earth in the end as some big superstar. He left as being loved by his family. He left as, he left his legacy with the people who loved him. And in the end, he passed away, a few years later, of an illness, I believe it was cancer, but it was an illness that he ended up passing. He had a whole life to live. He had a second life. He had that purpose that he had to meet, and he had to meet that purpose. And in the meantime, I was kind of being moved into position and into place, into mine. And these shifts and these changes and just trusting that journey, and I came in kicking and screaming, really truly moved me. And it was that moment that I realized the power of what I would do in the future, and how I would not try to set a goal to, get this many clients or do this much work. It was literally set the intention to just say, I am here, I am ready, I am available to be of service to the divine. Whatever it is that God needs of me, however it is that God, source, creator, needs me to show up, I'm here. I'm available. I'm willing to do whatever I have to do the work. Now, that comes at a cost, right? But that is of how the power of this intention is coming. But what comes with it, and as we're moving into the dragon energy, and what all of 2024 brings forth to us, is humility. Because you can't take your big ass ego into being this kind of work. And so the sense of having to let parts of that self die, let the need to be a fixer, a pleaser, not to have a desired outcome, not to be heard, not to, force someone to listen, not to walk around just telling everybody about everyone who's around them, but waiting for the call, waiting for the call to come in, waiting for that messenger to come, waiting for that moment, that time. And sometimes it hasn't been so pretty to have to meet specific people in your life and having to work with that energy. And because everyone has a free will choice and everyone chooses, everyone gets to choose whether or not they do the right things for the right reason, whether or not they make the changes in their lives. And often we're listening to them lie to us, and they're telling us lies, and you hear those lies, but we're listening to spirit, and we have to just keep reminding them they're love. And so this setting that intention, like I said, it wasn't about being a medium. I never set an intention to ever be a medium, ever. I just set an intention to just be the best human that I could be and just allow the rest to unfold. And with that came the supernatural. With that came beyond anything I could imagine, that the universe moved mountains, moved me in position, moved me into places of where I would not have set that goal. I would have done something else. I may have just stayed in my little quiet little closet working. I may have, who knows? I don't really know. All I know is that if I had to put a ceiling on it, which I never do even now still, I don't put a ceiling on it. I don't kind of brand it into, oh, this is what I am. This is all I do. Is I work for God. I work for the divine. I work for spirit, for source, for the highest good of humanity in whatever way that I'm being asked to be used. And that is how this moon speaks to us. And that, that may sound kind of out there and crazy, but there is a real logical sense of that. I could set into that. I could settle with that. I could be okay with that. And there was a contentment and a peacefulness that comes with it. And so once you set a goal that you then have to strive so hard for, is it causes you more stress and anxiety, causes you sometimes to be really hard on yourself. But if you just become available to whatever is of your highest good, and you just set into action, just doing the things that are for your highest good, and allow whatever it is supposed to look like, and you can feel in that moment, and in whatever it's supposed to look like, it will open up as it appears, when it needs to be here. And until then, we allow ourselves to just live in the ordinary moments, and live in the magic and the awe of the ordinary moments, of every little particle, every little piece of something that comes in, that gives you the feeling of what you'll feel living your life, living the truest of your life. Every little one of those feelings is like opening up a little bag of hope, and that you're just following that hope, you're following that faith, you're following that journey, that way, and it begins to bring about a beautiful change. And as those changes begin to unfold in our lives, as life opens up for us, there is a sense of grounded rootedness, because what begins is building up that sense of just trusting. Trust the universe has your back. Trust the universe is working for your highest good, even when it seems like it's not, because a part of this journey really truly was humility. And I learned a lot about myself by falling off my high horse, by having to really truly, and not jump up embarrassment or, just like, oh my God, hope no one's seen that. It's just say, what is there for me to learn down here? While I'm down here, while I'm down here on my butt, while I'm here when I'm here stewing in this moment of humility, of this hurt, of this shame story, of this guilt, whatever it may be, what is there for me to learn from this experience? And this year has a lot of humility energy in it. It has a lot of falling from grace moments, as the world's energy is preparing to fall from grace. And that's where we begin to be able to show ourselves mercy. For all the times that you have fought so hard, trying to force things, trying to make things, being, led by that whole hurrah, hurrah, meet your potential, you can conquer anything, you can do anything. Well, the key word in that is you. Who is that you? And if that's the you that have not done the rest of the groundwork, the foundation just crumbles. The foundation falls again. because it has to be built on a strong foundation. So if faith is restored, if we can hold on to the hope, if we can really truly strengthen that sense of integrity, of allowing ourselves to be guided by the faith, moved by the mystical, magical energy that exists within us all, by restoring the virtues and not allowing the vices to contaminate our virtues. I want to revert back to that story of my friend, was that a person who had a heart of gold also had to struggle through ego story, also had to really truly, struggle through false confidence, that persona, those masks that you wear, that, you're this great person, larger than life person. But the larger than life person appeared when he was kind of this small, when he kind of was in that position of where he didn't have much, left. And that's when he was needed, he jumped into service. And those moments and meeting that potential is to really recognize, if you're going to breathe into you got to find that you're breathing into. Those goals you set, those intentions you set, are they really intended for your truest self, or are they for your ego's desire? Are they because you still feel like you got something to prove? Are they because you're just going to prove to the world, you're going to show up, you're going to show people? And so is that really for you? Is that really of our highest good? So the foundation is a must. This part is a must. And so this is where this year's energy, this moon's energy begins the cycle and the journey all the way in through many of our death stories, many of our, letting old stories die, and phoenix moments. It's a lot of bearing witness to dark night, the soul journeys, the hero's journeys, phoenix rising moments, those type of things. It's a year where comebacks are possible and miracles can happen, but it requires responsibility, and for us to not to put a ceiling or a cap on what we think is possible for us, how possible, how these impossible becomes possible, the impossible dream. So what if your highest intention is the most impossible dream? That's not possible. You'll never do that. You can never be that. And it's not that you just say, watch and see what I'll do, is watch and see what the divine will do for me. If I become the reflection of my truth, and that's where the humility came in. The humility came in me breaking free, breaking up with all versions of myself. And this is everything that I created and taught in More Than Existing in my programs, which is happening now, which I created a few years ago, which is still happening. But it truly was breaking up with that self and really, truly letting go of any plan that I would have had of what I thought my life should look like, who I thought I should be. And I never clung to that whole thought of, oh my God, you should be a medium. You're so good at this. I had spent 30 years of my life doing something because I was good at it. And because it was something that I was really good and really great at. And it was something I was supposed to do. And that was being the hairdresser. But what if being the hairstylist was only that small part? And it capped for so long, because there were so many areas in my life of where I had opportunities to do other things. But because I had owned and began a salon and spa at such a young age, and because then that sense of self worth, value, is that opportunities came and went that may have been bigger, but maybe I was never meant to walk them. Maybe you were never meant to walk those either. There's just so many areas of our lives that when you look back and you see things through the eyes of the divine, is that you can see things more clearly. And this big journey and this desire that we have to create, to be, to whatever it is, how we free ourselves of. And as we then move forward, as wisdom is gained in those low moments, your lowest moments are your most defining moments. They give you the wisdom, they give you the strength, they give you the courage that you don't have because you're deflated. The air is gone. And that's where the virtues appear again. And as we rise back up, here's part of our problem. We forget what rose us up. We forget what it was like to be on the bottom. And then we forget those lessons. We forget those things. And then we get back into the cycle of the ego's desire, and we never come full circle. And so this is where endings have to happen, where we can have a new beginning, we can have new middles, and we can have permanent, long-term satisfactions within our lives and within the world. And this moon begins a phase and a stage for us. This is the opening act. So this moon is the opening act of maybe something bigger than we can ever imagine. And this is where this new moon is, just imagine that this may be the beginning of something bigger and better than we could have ever imagined, tried to create, or anything else. But it is going to require us to say, I will do my part. And this is, and just making that, I'll do my part to do whatever I need to do to get to the point of living my life that is in connection and in alignment to my highest good. And that's the energy that we have happening. This is the mystical, magical of it. And it's not a straight line. It weaves like this. It is intertwining into a lot of other energy. We have a lot of things that are happening, but there is a lot of mystical magic in this moon energy that just locks and just says, well, it's just obvious that that's where you'd be. That's just obvious. That's what will happen. That's just obvious, but it's not so obvious to us, but it's obvious to our soul. It is obvious to our guides, to spirit. It is obvious to them. And so if they can see what we cannot see, then maybe we should put our trust in the divine. I send you so much love. Remember, your soul is you, and you are an extension of the soul. I send you much love. If you like these videos, please subscribe, and have a beautiful, beautiful day. Much love.